You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
Well, good evening, folks. This is the Jenn and Rick Show. We're coming to you live right now from KLRNradio.com. Just a few minutes past the hour of 10 Eastern, 9 Central. And I am joined by my lovely co-host, Miss Jen. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. But you know, the opening of our show actually kind of made me think of something. I wonder how many Democrats right now are just screaming, "Screw it! It's too late to turn back now." Because you know, the whole Russian thing seems to be blowing up in their faces, and they seem to be all kinds of verklempt.
Well, a lot of things seem to be blowing up in their faces. So that's just kind of the way it's going to go for a while, I think, as long as they just keep grasping at straws instead of, you know, waiting until there's really something of substance to go after.
Wait, Democrats? Substance?
I know. Does not compute.
Pretty much. Dang, you killed my whole Robbie the Robot impression. You beat me to it. So, I mean, you know, lots of interesting things going on in the news. First and foremost, you know, there's everybody on the Democratic side is like, oh my God, talking to the Russians is treasonous. The Republicans should be impeached and then we should shoot them. And then it's, but weren't you guys just kind of doing the same thing not too long ago? Oh, no. Nothing to see there. Move along, folks.
No, and totally different. And the Obama administration was scandal-free, and Eric Holder was never held in contempt of Congress, or the fact that he was just a partisan, little thing, and you don't need to worry about it. I mean, it goes on, and I don't think that makes it right for it to happen on our side, but it sure does make me roll my eyes at their outrage over this, or anything really that they have swept under the rug when it comes to their own people, or flat out lied about. I mean, they've just completely rationalized and lied about it. And I'm not just talking about other Democrats. Of course, the media, they've done it for them. All the excuses and all the justifications. So it's hard for me to take them seriously.
Well, I mean, I stopped taking pretty much any politician seriously quite some time ago, but I guess the thing that's interesting to me is you see, like, even the non-politician Democrats have been all over social media and been like, back in my day, this would have been considered treason, and yet now none of them are saying anything about the fact that it's come out that the Democrats were doing pretty much the same thing for this entire time, and nobody's said anything up until now.
Yep. Oh no, it's crazy. They just. I just want to be like, do you own a mirror? Like, do you own a mirror? Can you look yourself in the face and say these things? It's just gotten kind of out of control, I'm afraid.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know how many of them can honestly look themselves in the mirror and say some of the things that they say on a daily basis. Because, I mean, some of them have to know just entirely how full of crap they are. Now, some of them actually believe it, which are the scary ones. But some of them know how full of crap they are, and they still try to do it anyway.
Well, right. And it's not even just like being full of crap. It's it's like ongoing manipulation and, actually stating things that are not true and they know it, but still presenting them anyways because it fits some agenda. I mean, I've always said this about most politicians, though. I mean, this goes right along with it. They're lying liars who lie.
One of these days, I'm going to get that, what is that, Steve Martin that yells that out somewhere? I've heard a sound clip of that before, and I'm going to find that one of these days and just grab it. But yeah, so, I mean, it's disturbing how partisan everything has become. That's like something I don't remember if we touched on Tuesday night very much at all, because we were kind of just all over the place because of the speech. One of the things that I really, really liked was the attention that Donald Trump gave to the fallen Navy SEAL and his family. And the Democrats sat on their hands for what had to have been one of the longest standing ovations in a joint address history. Not only that, but several people took pot shots at this poor woman afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Right. I know. And it also, I said this before, I actually personally don't really care for this practice that we have at congressional addresses or State of the Unions, where you prop up a few people, whether it's like an inner city kid that's the first to go to college, someone who's beaten cancer, military. A military widow. I just don't think that it's the place for that. I think there are plenty of other official events to honor them. And, in an address to Congress, I just don't think is it. But it's been happening, for the better part of 50 years. It's just the way it goes. And to get so outraged over that and say that he was using her and the exploitation of her, and then actually talking down like she didn't realize that obviously it was kind of a maneuver, but why wouldn't she just want to have her husband honored? And kind of no matter what it is, but they act as if this has not been done in the past, or that Obama didn't do it at every address he gave. And no, it wasn't necessarily a SEAL's widow, but they did it. He's done it with all sorts of things, and that's just part of the game. So acting so horrified by this, and the overwhelmingly emotional response that this woman received, and how much she seemed to live in that moment, I think is just despicable.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll reserve judgment as to whether or not it's something that should have happened. I'm not usually a fan of that type of stuff either, but at the same time, the simple fact of the matter is it did happen. They could have at least shown some human decency and stood up and clapped for a moment instead of just sitting on their hands. And then to have actually quite a few people actually come out and attack her afterwards and ask her what it felt like to be a prop for the president, etc. Does anybody remember, what was her name, Cindy Sheehan?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Cindy Sheehan, I forgot about her. My word.
They didn't seem to mind trotting her out,
That is true. Well, and even look at the cons. You don't think that they used them? And then, oh my goodness, they end up going on like basically a celebrity tour, and there's going to be a book and all. I mean, the Democratic Party absolutely used them, and for a much more political purpose. I mean, that was outright to attack the opponent and the other party, and to push certain ideals and agendas. At least this was just, thank you for his service. Thank you for your sacrifice. We'll never forget him, and we honor him today. He was a great American. God bless you. I mean, the horror. Oh, the horror. But, it's just the hypocrisy of picking and choosing. Like if it's working for me and it's our idea for my team, A-okay, and I can make all the justifications for it, to make it seem like the best thing ever. And then when it's the other side, I've got to figure out how to completely tear it down. And unfortunately, they decided to resolve to actually, tearing down this poor woman, which is just ridiculous. Also, you've seen the controversy, though, about Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Keith Ellison. How it's like gone back and forth. They did stand, they didn't stand. Yes, they did. Snopes said that they did. Then they took it down and revised it and said that it's unclear when it is clear. There's Town Hall actually did a piece today.
So I have a question, though. How is it not clear when you have a whole group of people dressed in white sitting on their hands? What was not clear about that?
Well, and also it's like people have these photos where they're, kind of from behind. So they say, see, they're standing because they're on the same level with the people behind them. And then it's like, no, but look at the people in front of them who are towering over. It was an angle shot, so it kind of looks like they're standing, but they're not. And there's video. I mean, this isn't like no one got this, then it wasn't recorded. It was. It's so silly. I mean, at least just own it and say, well, they protest whatever, come up with the dang excuse. I don't think there's a good one, but come up with one.
I mean, that's kind of my take on it. It's no different than this whole Colin Kaepernick thing, because, he made this big deal all the way through the election about how he was going to take a knee at football games to do in the whitey, so to speak, and deal with all the oppression. But now that it's threatening his job, guess who's not going to be kneeling at national anthems anymore? I was just like, you know what? Look, I get it. You thought you had something that you felt like you needed to do. So if that was your goal and your purpose was to bring attention to the plight of all of the people that are oppressed in this country by kneeling to the national anthem, then you should have done that regardless of the consequences until somebody noticed what the heck you were talking about. Because what good does it do to be like, I'm going to do this until it's fixed? Oh, wait, you mean you're not going to let me continue to play football if I don't stop? Oh, okay, then I guess I'm done. Really?
Well, also, it turned out that in several of those interviews after he first knelt, it became fairly obvious that he didn't really know much about the cause for which he was not standing up for, and what he was kneeling against. It was all over the map. He couldn't really articulate anything about it very well, and it changed constantly. So I think this guy is more of an attention, attention freak.
So let me see if I get this right. A guy that lives the lifestyle of a rock star and makes millions and millions and millions of dollars playing a game that pretty much everybody used to play in their backyard has no real idea what oppression is. Gee, I'm shocked and amazed.
Yeah, just so shocked. I love that he actually grew up, didn't he grow up really suburban and everything? I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I think I heard something about that. He kind of grew up Fresh Prince style, and he's like, oh my God, I'm so oppressed.
Yeah, that's pretty much the case. But I just, I think at the address, first of all, the women's wearing white, and that it was for women's rights and women's equalities. I am still so confused. Do you think that your wife has less rights than you? I really want to know what rights they want. What more rights they want? Special rights so that we can have our vote count twice, that we get an automatic, certain salary or a percentage of, of a raise or something. I don't understand what it is they want that we don't already have. And also, I don't think they understand what the word rights means.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure they don't, actually.
I mean, and as far as our Constitution goes, not just, what you think should be rights. I don't know. I'm just so confused by all of this women's stuff, and, them just losing their heads constantly and screaming about equality and screaming about women's rights. And I'm just left pretty dumbfounded as to what they are, these magical things that, somehow are only afforded to men. So I don't get it.
So I have a question, because I can't really address this very well, but as you are actually a woman, and we've mentioned that before, what what are some things that you view differently between women and men that you might feel are things that maybe should be addressed?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I think that first and foremost that we've gotten too, everybody's a psychologist, right? Like everybody thinks they can identify what some. What?
I blame Dr. Phil.
But everyone gets in everyone else's heads, and that's kind of what this like new age feminism has done, is kind of make it like, women they've somehow convinced this new generation of women that we have been oppressed, that there has been stuff taken from us or not allowed to us, and that there hasn't been enough progress made on the front of equality. But I can't really think of much that I would change. I think that everybody places way too much importance on trying to compare the two, and there are some things that are just incomparable. I mean, we are built differently for a reason. We are biologically different, and there are
biology's a myth, remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this party of science is really starting to get wacky.
Well, I mean, I wonder how many of them are making regular trips to places like Colorado, so that might explain some of it.
But I don't know. It kind of frustrates me that they want to compare themselves to, the suffragettes, or they want to compare themselves to Rosa Parks, or they want to compare themselves, you know what I mean, to these brave and prominent women that effected real change, that really made a mark, and that a lasting mark, standing up for something that was right and standing up for a worthy cause, fighting for a worthy cause. I don't see what the cause is here, really. I just don't get the end goal. Free abortions for everyone, is that it? Because they claim it's not anything to do with that. It's about empowering women, but to do what? I still don't understand what the rights are that we're trying to fight for.
So you have the audacity to not compare Rosa Parks, to not see the commonality between Rosa Parks' struggle and this whole menstrual equality thing. I'm ashamed.
Absolutely infuriates me.
I'm ashamed of you. Not really.
It is so insulting. It is absolutely disgusting to compare themselves to any of those great women from history that have that really, made a difference and paid a price for it too. So it's just more entitled, whatever I want, however I want it, and I am going to pat myself on the back and build up my own ego to, make sure everyone knows how great I am. So one way to do that is to compare myself to Rosa Parks. It's utterly ridiculous and disgusting. I wish more people would call them out on it, but they don't.
Well, that's because, they're afraid to be labeled as, I guess it would be sexist or chauvinistic or whatever you want to call it. But here's the thing, though, and this is something that has always bothered me, because when I talk to actual women who grew up in a time frame when there was actual inequality between women and men, let's not forget, it wasn't so long ago women weren't really allowed to leave the house. They other than to do basic shopping and other things that the husbands couldn't do while they were at work. They used to not have the right to vote. So for all of these people to be standing around now comparing the struggles that they're talking about with the stuff that these women have actually gone through. I actually talked to a friend who grew up with my aunt, who actually talked about the times that she was actually one of the first executives that was female. And she would literally get teased every single day. They would berate her on the way into the office, all the way through the elevator, all the way till she got to her office, and on the way out every single day. Because this was still a man's world, and they would be damned if there was going to be a woman in it. So for these people that have gone through this, to see what has happened to what these people are now calling the feminist movement, most of them are more disgusted than you and I are, because they actually grew up going through it, and they knew what they were fighting for, and they're watching these people now going, this is what I almost died for you? This is what I risked my life for, to bring you the ability to look like an idiot on the national stage? This is what I gave up my time for? I've heard this from so many people lately. It just astounds me that they can continue to compare this whole idea of, we're looking for menstrual equality to the same women that actually were looking for real equality, because it didn't used to exist. And to say that it's the same now as it was then is asinine, because it's completely different now.
It's so different. That's why, I completely agree with that. It's insulting. And if I, were anybody that had been a part of previous, movements that actually were so profound, I would be rolling my eyes and just scoffing at these people. And it's so, this free bleeding and the, pink hats and all of this, I still just boil down to like, what is so big? What is this huge deal that you are marching for and that you are making such a fuss about, and that I just get a focus, get a goal. And I don't see one other than we're just going to kind of scream and shout and stomp our feet and shriek and appear to feed the stereotype of the overly emotional, irrational bleep. That's what it is. It's just reinforcing that like women are crazy. They're acting like it. Sit down and shut up is what I say.
The word you're looking for rhymes with witch.
Yes.
Which is actually a good segue to our next story, because there was something I meant to talk with you about this last Tuesday and completely forgot that Trump was going to be speaking. So this happened over the weekend while I was at CPAC. So apparently witches worldwide have decided that they're going to continue to cast a curse on Donald Trump. I believe it's at it's not the full moon. They used another term for it, but it's basically going to kind of become like at least a once monthly event, I think, maybe even twice. They're casting a binding spell on the president. So I'm kind of curious about something, because everybody accuses Donald Trump of being the devil. In that instance, wouldn't the witches be trying to cheer him on, not trying to curse him? I'm just asking.
That's funny. That is pretty funny. But wait, I'm sorry. There are enough people that think they can actually cast spells?
Oh yeah. I actually talked about this on Off the Rails the other day, and sadly thought I still had the audio, but apparently I do not. There's actually audio of them saying that there's actually audio of a coven of witches that are standing and being videotaped, casting a binding spell on President Donald Trump and trying to quote unquote bind his wickedness. This literally happened while I was at CPAC. Literally.
I'm just oh my gosh, we live in a world full of children. Witches. All right. Well, good luck to them. I think that maybe Trump is too strong for their powers.
So yeah, we're literally talking these kind of witches.
Friended cat hath mewed thrice, and once the hedge pig whined. Hopla cries, 'tis time. Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw. Toad, that under cold stone days and nights has 31 sweltered venom sleeping got, boil thou first in the charming pot. Double toil and trouble.
And honestly, the curse they were saying sounded about as crazy. But on that note, we're going to take a really quick commercial break. I just decided I had to bring that up because I was going to bring it up Tuesday and got completely sidetracked.
Yeah,
when I was
crazy.
Like, holy crap, Trump's talking and I forgot. All right, so anyway, we are out, folks. We'll be back here in about 4 minutes. You are listening to Jenn and Rick. Don't go away.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty loyalty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
right, folks, welcome back. This is Jenn and Rick. We are live already into the second half of the show right here on KLRNradio.com. And actually, I guess it's about time to break out the world's smallest violins, because apparently, rumor has it that the already embattled IRS, because, you know, the fact that they kind of became Obama's own little version of the stormtroopers, are now facing facing cuts and possibly some really deep cuts under the Trump administration. Couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of white armor wearing... Oh, sorry, never mind. But yeah, my feelings are not hurt over the IRS at all, so...
Yeah, boo-hoo. I don't care.
So
I'm sure, like all of the agencies, there is, you know, so much. There has to be. There's no way there's not so much bureaucratic waste, and so I just don't really care. We need to cut that crap out.
You know, it's interesting because you had actually mentioned something while we were on the break about an idea of doing away with the withholding, so people actually had to sit down X number of times a year and actually write out the check to send to the IRS for what they technically would owe them. As someone who's been a small business owner, I have to say that's painful because I've done that. Because, you know, as a small business owner, especially if you start turning a decent profit, it is a really, really good idea to make sure that you pay in what you're supposed to pay the IRS at least once a quarter. Because if you don't, at the end of the year, they're going to be like, go ahead, bend over. No, we didn't bring any lube because you haven't paid us anything yet this year. And I have to say, that was one of the first things that made me realize just how screwed up our tax system was when I was the one that had to write the check once a quarter. That's painful.
Exactly. And I think, but I do think that it drives the point home on taxes. It makes it real. The way it is right now, and most people get everything withheld from checks, and you see the number, but you don't feel the number, right? Because you never had the money in your account to begin with. It basically never existed for you. And so I think a lot of, especially, you know, the younger generations, they don't feel the gravity of the tax burden. And so if you had to sit down and write that check, if they had to do that, you know, however so often, I think there would be a lot of change. There would be cry outs for change overnight on tax policy. And I think people would wisen up pretty quickly about, you know, being able to control their money, and why us crazy wing nut jobs have been saying for years that taxation is theft.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, it goes along with the same idea of I really want to go back and punch the person in the face that came up with Social Security. Because if I could have that money back in my check and have started putting it into a savings account when I was 18 and just left it there, by the time I was ready to retire, I would have over $1 million in the bank.
It's crazy.
And that's the point that a lot of us have been trying to get across. When the government starts trying to do things for you, they're not really trying to help you. They're trying to look out for themselves. That's why everybody's under this false assumption that Social Security was supposed to have this lockbox and that money was supposed to be there. Well, guess what? There was no lock on there, and if there was, somebody shot it off 40 years ago. That money's been circulating through the budget now pretty much since its inception. So all we've really been doing is taking our Social Security money, which is money that you and I have worked for, that we're told, well, this is to make sure that we can take care of you when you're older. No, that's not even really what that was started for, because let's not forget, the age for Social Security has always been, what is it now, 65? I don't think it's ever really changed, because we're talking about changing it now. But let's not forget that when Social Security was actually implemented, the average lifespan expectancy was 65 if you were lucky. So they were expecting the majority of us to never use the money in the first place, which is why somebody in Congress said, hey, 95% of these fools are going to be dead before they get the money anyway. Let's throw a party.
No, that's exactly right. All of these kinds of things. I mean, anybody that thinks trusting government with your money is a good idea is just wrong or insane. I'm not really sure which, but that's the system that we have, and we've got these behemoth things like the IRS and like I got totally thrown off. My husband just walked in the door and handed me a bottle of wine, and I lost all my train of thought.
Oh, we're gonna take a commercial break while Jen pops the top on the wine. No, I'm just playing. All right. So anyway, actually, we'll go ahead and segue to what will probably be pretty close to the next to last topic, because I just found a story that kind of made me giggle a little bit. It's kind of going back to this whole, not 5 minutes ago I was calling the IRS Obama stormtroopers. Guess what's not being allowed at an Ivy League school? Stormtrooper costumes.
What?
You know why it's not being allowed?
Why?
So apparently there's an Ivy League school putting on a rendition of Star Wars, and yet they have banned the use of stormtrooper costumes. Take a guess.
I don't know.
Because
they're white?
Because of Nazis.
Oh, good grief.
So I'm curious, what does a stormtrooper uniform have anything to do with Nazis?
Because it's uniform? I don't know. That's ridiculous.
So my question is, if it's because they're white and they kind of all look the same, then were the Democrats wearing white because of Nazis?
I don't know. That is so strange.
It's this whole political correctness on steroids. I hate to say it, but that's part of the reason why Trump won. Even though he gets under my skin with some of the things that he says and he does, the simple fact of the matter is he doesn't pull punches. He doesn't run things through filters. He just tells you exactly what he thinks at the time. That's not good for a politician because the internet lives forever. But it's great for an everyday person because they can be like, well, this is what I thought this time, and now I've changed my mind, so this is what I said now. But now that he's a politician, every little thing he ever does is under a microscope, and they're like, well, 5 minutes ago you said you were for this, and now you're against it. Well, 5 minutes ago I didn't know this was going to be a problem, so this is why I'm against it now. But Trump doesn't explain things that way. He's just like, yeah, that was 5 minutes ago. Get over it. Move on. Next question, please, or I'm going to kick you out of the White House press corps.
I have found something that I think will really help him, though. I think everybody should go here and do this. Everybody needs to go to New Mexico College for their study group that confronts the depravity of whiteness.
Wait, there's a study group for that?
Yes. So the email that was sent out reads like this. This is a group where those who most often exhibit racist and sexist behavior, white males, can begin to be self-critical of the very dangerous, brutal, and depraved hierarchical pathologies of superiority, supremacy, and inferiority handed down to us by white Euro-American institutions. They will deal with two main problems, those being the depravity of whiteness and the brutality of masculinity. The main topic for discussion will be an ongoing one. Isn't this crazy? How can we get to the root of the problem? How can we get patriarchy, sexism, racism in the United States and this neoliberal capitalist empire? That's really what it says. Drama much?
So I only have one thing to say to these people that wrote up whatever the heck that was. Because I'm sure they were probably practicing it, among each other and laughing. If I had been standing there, it would have gone something like this.
My God, are you still talking?
It's so crazy. I mean, think about that. As I said, the privilege of white people, patriarchy, sexism, and racism in the neoliberal capitalist empire of the United States of America. I mean, and so they're going to learn to be self-critical.
So wait.
I was going to say most of those white men that they don't need to learn to be self-critical. Most of them get married to white women that will do enough of the criticism for them.
So I'm confused. I know of a neocon, but what exactly is a neoliberal?
I don't know. I don't know what. All of those words are just thrown together into one explosive sentence in order to have impact. I think it's utterly ridiculous.
So, I mean, I'm just wondering if they've come up with this whole neoliberal thing because now that's the movement post-Hillary. Maybe.
I feel like I've heard it before. I just not sure how to nail it down.
Oh, I'm just trying. I'm just trying to be.
I don't dive in.
I'm just trying to be facetious.
I don't dive into that side ideology to that extent, typically.
But, you know, it's interesting because another thing that I noticed when I was at CPAC is there was this commercial that was going around with Hillary Clinton in it, talking about how the Democrats needed to hang strong and be tough because she was still going to be there. She was going to be there to help. The thing that nobody seemed to talk about, though, is they were running that commercial with a softening filter on it that made her look less wrinkly. I'm not
yeah, she's
kidding.
sort of glowing looking, right?
Yeah.
Like her skin's kind of smoothed out and she kind of has a glow. Yeah, it's definitely a filter.
That glow is from the filter, folks. It's not because she smoked something before she went on camera. But no, it's just...
She's definitely not glowing because she's pregnant.
Well, good God, I hope not.
Even though they tried to pretend like she is not an old fart, she is an old fart.
I mean, that womb would be dusty and cobwebby, I would think. So I would feel really, really bad for any kid that
No. What have you done?
Hey, you went there, not me. I just finished off the ride. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it was funny because I kept seeing this commercial and I'm like, do people not realize that they're running this through a filter? I mean, it's the same thing that, you know, the Trump campaign got mad because I guess one of the news channels, I think it was Channel 4, was ramping up his orange tint. And they were doing it on purpose. And I actually didn't believe it at first. But one time when he was talking, I flipped between channel, NBC, ABC, and CBS, which for where I'm at, Channel 4 is NBC. And I flipped to NBC and he's like, orange, 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 orange. Channel 5 has him a little less orange and CBS has him looking fairly normal, which whether he likes it or not, still made him look orange. But he didn't look quite burnt orange like NBC had him looking.
That's funny.
But it's just interesting the different ways that people try to soften things up because they have literally already got it in their heads that she's going to try again in 2020. I mean, I don't think they realize that by then she'll probably be reprising her role as the Crypt Keeper for an HBO special. But you know, barring that, I guess there's a shot. I mean, please run Hillary Clinton again. Maybe we can finally figure out some of those things she was hiding in the emails. I mean, I have like 3 years worth of material we could bring back in 2020 if that happens. So I'm not complaining.
How can they be so stupid?
Well, was that a rhetorical
I know it's
question?
rhetorical. I'm just like, you can't possibly be serious with this. That isn't. No, just no. You can't. It didn't work. It didn't work. It failed bigly. So. Oh my gosh, I don't
It was
understand.
a huge failure, so please do it again. You know, it's just funny because, you know, the same people that used to say that they were the party of diversity are now talking about rolling out the Crypt Keeper yet again, probably versus Bernie Sanders again, because if he's still around, you know that'll be the interesting thing, because by then they'll be on the debate stage chasing each other around with hover rounds. You know, they'll be at it'll be one of those town hall open forum kind of things. They'll be chasing each other around with the microphones.
I was going to say,
well,
we could just make, let's just further this into like a reality game show. So they can have like, their motor scooter, they can have their little races, maybe an ops.
Uh-oh.
Let's just make a whole spectacle out of this, like we haven't done so enough already.
No, see, because that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid, because Trump has already made our election process pretty much a reality.
No. I'm just saying, if we're gonna be, and if Oprah runs or whatever else that they're rumoring now, if we're gonna go down this road, I mean, let's go hard or go home.
Is that what Bill said? Oh, my bad. Sadly, lately, I think he's been doing more going home than going hard. But that's a story for another day.
Yikes! He doesn't look good either, man. They need a glow filter on him.
I don't think there's enough of a filter.
Oh man, some of those photos that come out, I'm just like, man, is he all right?
Well, see, that's kind of the thing, though. That's the difference between somebody snapping a live picture and just being like, "Hey, I'm going to put this out here," and then the other ones you see where he doesn't look so much like the Crypt Keeper are the ones where they actually go in and touch them up first.
Right.
And it's just, I mean, it just literally looks like the poor old guy is rotting from the inside out. So as much as it's fun to make fun of him, it's kind of gotten to the point where now I actually kind of feel bad for him because everything he's ever done wrong in his life is coming back to bite him squarely in the rectum.
Yeah, he's always had health issues, but it seems to be at another level right now.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you, well, never mind. I actually know someone who knows him personally, but I've promised I won't ever mention any of the things that they've told me on air. So I have to behave now. So anyway, anything else going on in the news that you wanted to talk about? Because I know we really didn't get a chance to talk much at all before the show went live.
No, I think that we covered most of it. I mean, I just think a little bit more about the session stuff. I just haven't seen enough to assume that there is any sort of actual lying and perjuring here. Places have been pulling stuff up all day of Democratic senators that have also met with, and, we've had some that have even flown to places behind the government's back, not informed us or our embassies. And while I think it's important to point all those out for kind of some perspective and saying, like, see, this is a thing, especially if you're someone like him who's on the Armed Services Committee, then that's fine. But if we're using it as like, oh, hush up, they did it, so who cares if we did it? I don't like that kind of business. But I haven't seen anything that really shows me anything nefarious went on. I think that they're kind of reaching and grasping at straws here to make this into something that it just doesn't seem to be.
Well, they have to at this point. Their whole movement is falling apart. At this point, this is honestly something that I'm not trying to do a whole victory lap or anything here. This is legitimately something I thought I would never see in my lifetime. They have been so derailed by the fact that everything they threw at Trump, and he survived it. Because let's not forget, they wanted Trump. There are emails that have been leaked, emails after emails after emails, where the Hillary Clinton camp was basically on their knees praying to whatever they call God, please let it be Trump. And yet he still managed to survive. And I am not a full-on Trump supporter. I am a Trump fan by no means, but I will do what I've always done. And I will look at what the sitting president of the United States does, and when they do something well, I will compliment them on it. When they do something wrong, I will call them on it. But the fact that Hillary Clinton is not president today really, really, really makes me happy. And maybe that makes me petty. If it does, I'll take it. But the simple fact of the matter is we didn't need the Clintons back in the White House again. And that was one thing that we managed to not do. And this was the first time that in recent history that the Clinton machine was completely shut down. And that's why they're grasping at straws to explain why it didn't work. That's why it has to be the Russians' fault. Never mind the fact that there were people within her within the Obama administration that were also part of her Secretary of State stuff and everything else that weren't smart enough to go, oh, maybe I shouldn't click on this link from an email that says that it's not secure. And oops, somebody got my password. And oh, where's my phone? How many times has it been reported that Hillary Clinton lost a phone? And then there were other times where she would destroy one just for the sake of getting a new one. And we're talking about the fact that the country's currently in debt by trillions of dollars. And we have a sitting Secretary of State who's like, yeah, I'm tired of this phone, smash it with a hammer.
Yeah, exactly. I just feel like everything is being overblown and we just keep rehashing old issues, and there's no ability to really unite or to move forward when, our media seems kind of hell-bent on taking very small issues, or if you can even call them issues, and trying to make them into, the next Watergate so that they can find reason for Congress to impeach this president. And I think it's only going to get worse.
Well, of course the media is ravenous, though. They've been asleep for 8 years. So now they're sniffing at everything, thinking it's a piece of raw meat, and turns out they're basically chasing a bacon bit.
Very true.
But it's just amazing to me to see the differences between these administrations and the way the media has portrayed everything. And even I have to admit that there was a time that I was really, really hard on Trump. And I probably will continue to be hard on Trump in the event that he does things that I don't agree with. But can we not... he's been, we're not even 2 months in, and people are already saying he needs to be impeached now. I saw somebody on my Facebook page earlier still talking about wanting to see the guy's tax returns.
I've been seeing that too, especially on Facebook. They cannot let it go.
It's over. It's done. Those tax returns would not be able to do anything at this point to dissuade anybody, because at this point, the only way to get rid of him is impeach him, and he hasn't done anything bad enough to be impeached because you guys are tilting at windmills. This Russian thing, this Russian connection is insane. If anything, depending on which side of the story you look at, according to the more conservative-leaning papers, the Obama administration did everything they could to bolster the Russian connection to make sure that it was around long after they were gone. And according to the leftist, the Obama administration were heroes because they were trying to make sure that they uncovered as much of that Russian connection as they could. The simple fact of the matter is, with all of these different meetings that are coming out now that have happened under the Democrats, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this was being choreographed through them.
It very well may be. This has just all kind of gotten so crazy, and they... this is one of those things that's like, kind of be careful what you wish for. Be careful, throwing stones at glass houses. And this will always be the case when it's petty little crap like this.
And but that's the thing. This goes back to, one other thing that we kind of only really briefly touched on Tuesday. Because the left right now is completely outraged over the fact that Kellyanne Conway had her feet on the couch in the Oval Office. Now, I will tell you, for all of the people on the right that are freaking out right now about the Democrats being upset, this is what you get when you throw a fit about a president putting his feet on the desk. I understand that it was bad form for the president of the United States to put his feet on the Resolute desk. I get it. But you can't throw stones at somebody for doing it and then have somebody else show nearly the same level of disrespect when the shoe is now on the other foot, and not expect the other side to be just as bad. We need to stop the tit for tat, because that's all this is. It's all it's been for so long now that they don't know how to stop.
Yep, and I'm just, I'm seeing more stories about Pence and his emails now, and how he used a private email account, and people are going, ooh, see. No, not see. Didn't handle classified information, and public officials are not barred from using personal email accounts under Indiana law. So it's just the tit for tat, like you said, is just going to keep going on, and it won't matter that there's literally nothing there to harp about.
Well, that's because for them, there's always going to be something there to harp about, because this was Hillary's time, damn it.
I know. I really feel sorry for the old broad.
I don't, but that's a story for another day. All right.
Well, I'm sarcastic.
Oh, well, I thought maybe it was that whole woman camaraderie thing for a second, so, Anyway, so we are officially about out of time. Why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you're not on the radio hanging out with me?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at JHomestead, and I'm on Facebook, JR Homestead, and check out MisfitsPolitics.com.
And you didn't hesitate this time.
I didn't.
Sans wibbly. Woohoo. All right, so on that note, folks, I am out. Hang around for about 7 minutes or so. We'll be right back here with the America Off the Rails show. And, of course, you can hang out with me on Twitter at AOTR_host. If you are old school and enjoy email, you can do that at rick@klrnradio.com. On that note, folks, we are out. I'll be back with you here in just a few minutes. Stay tuned, though, because I have a special live interview that we did with Evan Sayet from CPAC that I haven't had a chance to air yet. That's coming up next, so stay tuned. This is the Jenn and Rick Show. We will be back next Tuesday, and I'll be back with you here in just a couple minutes on America Off the Rails. Take care. God bless.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.